सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः. We are doing chapter 7 of the Bhagavad Gita. We'll chant together verses 21 to 30. Yo yo yam yam tanum bhaktaha shraddhayarchitumicchati tasya tasya chalam shraddham tameva vidhatamyaham sataya shraddhaya yuktaha tasyaradhanamihate labhate cha tata kaman mayaiva vihitan hitan antavattu phalam tesham tadbhavatyalpamedhasam devan devayajo yanti madbhakta yanti mamapi avyaktam vyaktimapannam manyante mama buddhayaha param bhavamajanantaha mamavyayamanuttama naham prakashas sarvasya yogamaya samavrutaha mudhoyam nabhijanati loko mamajamavyayam vedaham samititani vartamanani charjuna bhavishyani cha bhutani mam tu vedana kakshana ichha dvesha samuttena dvandva mohena bharata sarva bhutani sammoham sarge yanti parantapa yesham tvantagatam papam jananam punyakarmanam te dvandva moha nirmuktaha bhajante mam drudhavrataha jara marana mokshaya mamashritya yatanti ye te brahma tatvidu krutsnam adhyatmam karma chakhilam sadhibhutadidaivam mam sadhiyagnyam cha ye viduhu prayanakalepi cha mam te viduryukta chetasaha. So, does anybody have any question pertaining to what we have studied so far? Okay, so last time we had studied about the 20th verse, which starts the topic, the deluded seek and gain finite fruit. Now, the deluded people seek and gain finite fruit. So, why are they called deluded? Because obviously what they're working so hard for is something that is going to go away. So it makes very little sense to put in so much effort, so much longing, so much craving for something that's just going to go away. And then when it goes away, we are going to be miserable, we are going to be unhappy, we are going to cry, we are going to condemn God, we're going to do all sorts of things. But not realizing a simple fact of life, that you worked for something finite. And so when you work for something finite, the nature of a finite thing is that it goes away. That's its nature. That's what you worked for. So it's delusion to be able to work this hard for something that is not going to last with you one way or the other. So what he said in verse 20 was, Kamaistaistai rutagnyanaha, ajnanaha, ignorant people. Aditi, are you raising your hand? Aditi?
Janki, I have raised the hand when you had said any questions, but now you're already in the flow. I don't want to disturb you. So
Oh, I didn't see the hand then. Go ahead, ask your question.
I raised it a little late, so it's trying to find where the raise hand option is.
Okay, go ahead, ask.
Okay, just wanted to understand a little bit more about the reflection part, because 80% of it is reflection, so it is very important to understand exactly what is reflection, because I didn't understand it very properly. When you said that it should not be on ourselves, it should be on knowledge. So how do you, like, if you want to put yourself into that situation, then you have to put it yourself. So how do you do a reflection without putting yourself in a situation?
By talking about the event and not about yourself. So you say, in this event, this happened. So it's not about you, it's about the event. So you say, so let's say take a concept such as, okay, we wanted me to repeat the question for the other platforms, no? So Aditi's question is, what is reflection and how do you not bring yourself into the reflection? Especially because you are trying to associate it with life itself. Isn't that correct, Aditi?
Yes, Janki.
Okay. So the reflection means to be able to contemplate, to think about an idea that has been presented to you rather than just swallowing the idea. Think about it from all different angles. Now suppose you take an idea such as selfishness causes agitations, right? So then you say, okay, so the wrong way of doing it is saying that, oh, you know, that day I did such good work and yet I was so agitated. So this is the wrong way of doing it. So the right way of doing it is, day before yesterday, this event happened and the individual still experienced agitation where there appeared to be no selfish desire. So you take yourself out of it. You say the individual, the person, the whatever. Talk about an event. Don't talk about the person. Don't talk about yourself in that event. So if you want to associate it with some example in life, use it. So X person, any person, nothing to do with you and I or anything. In this situation, what was the selfishness? That is the question. It's nothing to do with me or I or anything.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. This really helps a lot. And one last question, that if an elderly person in the family has a negative approach or an attitude towards life itself, how do you deal with this situation, especially when you want to move towards being a better person?
Okay, so Aditi's question is, if an elderly person in the family has a wrong attitude towards life, how do you deal with this, especially when you want to move ahead in life, want to deal well with the situation?
Yes,
so how do you do it? You understand, just like you understand, the cat is not going to help you wash dishes, right? The cat is going to lie in its box and sleep for 18 hours. And if occasionally purr, that's what the cat does. So the dog barks. And so this person who is not interested in self-development will live their life according to whatever vasanas they have created. They're not interested in self-development. They don't want to be positive and work towards something and all. Is not part of their deal at all. So they won't do it. So they'll be negative, they'll be criticizing, they'll be saying, oh, but this didn't happen and that didn't happen, and 40 years ago this happened and 60 years ago that happened. That's them. So once you become objective to it, the whole thing will start appearing like a little bit of a joke. So you will expect, okay, abhi dekho kya bolne wali hai, sab kuch acha kiya, and they are still going to say this. It becomes a little bit of a joke. I remember there used to be this elderly uncle who used to visit us. Of all the people I've met in my life, and I have met a few, I have never seen anybody who was capable of this degree of pessimism. There was no piece of information in this world ever that he thought was a good piece of information. And he could make everything sound so depressing that we all thought it was a bit of a talent. How can you do that? So we used to, we were kids and we used to throw stuff at him like, oh, like anything you say, but the economy is doing so well nowadays. Then he'll give you why the economy is doing badly. And then you say, but nowadays democracy is spreading to more and more countries. You could tell him anything and he will tell you why that is so bad. And it had become such a joke that we used to look forward to his coming, because then we were all like vying with each other to just like a football, kick the ball at him and see what he would do with it. It was a joke. And we thoroughly enjoyed his company, and he also thoroughly enjoyed our company, because he thought this was the best place for him to offload all his negative things. He's an intelligent fellow, of course, and he could tell you with facts and figures and everything. I mean, you spend one evening with him, you feel like the world is coming to an end tomorrow. But it was all entertainment. As long as you stay objective to this kind of stuff, and you don't get involved and try to argue with them and say, no, this is not so, it is so good. No, you add fuel to the fire. Enjoy yourself. Anyway, they're not changing. So you be happy and keep them happy.
Thank you so much. That was really, really beneficial. Thank you, Janki.
Okay.
Thank you. Gratitude.
Deepa? Go ahead, Deepa. What was your question?
Yeah. You said putting so much effort for finite things, isn't that the way we develop our Shraddha? So that has to be done.
What? Why would you develop Shraddha by doing it for finite? Why don't you develop Shraddha by doing it for infinite? You will in fact get depressed and overwhelmed, because you will find that you work so hard and you're getting nothing, and you don't really understand it's like, just think right now in this situation, okay? Suppose a man has worked very, very hard and built up his business, and for no fault of his, under this whole coronavirus thing, his business absolutely collapsed, right? So can you imagine how this person will be feeling? He is not thinking, I worked for a finite fruit. He doesn't think like that. He is dejected, he is unhappy, he maybe hates God. He says, the government is bad and China is bad and I don't know what all they say is bad. And he'll not understand that the problem is not all these things, but the fact that I work for a finite fruit. And so he's not going to develop Shraddha out of that. He's going to go the opposite direction. In most cases, the very few people who continue to be like Invictus, that no matter how straight the gate, I am the master of my fate. I'm not like, it's very few people do that. So I don't know where you got this impression that Shraddha will develop by.
Thought we work for finite things to get to infinite.
No way. You work for finite things, you'll get finite things. How will you get infinite things by working for finite things? There's no cause and effect
All the
there.
short goals, when we keep self in mind, isn't that where we are heading?
No, but then your goal is self, and these are just steps that you have on the path.
Okay, that doesn't come under finite.
No, of
Yeah,
course
okay.
not. Amarendar?
Hariom, ma'am.
Hariom.
This is in relation to the same adjective question. What will happen when I take my personal, for example, selfishness? Maybe I'm undergoing agitation because there is something selfishness in me which is causing. So I can reflect in that way. No, that means it is not advisable to go in that way.
No. Don't think of yourself. In any reflection, we should not think of ourselves, because the whole point of Vedanta is to nullify ourselves, right? Nullify the ego. All the good things of life come when I am not there. When I am not there, when my whole attention is not on myself, and my attention can shift to something greater and nobler and vaster, and that's when my potential comes out, that's when my happiness comes out, that's when my spiritual development comes out. So I should not do anything on the path that emphasizes myself. So now suppose you have this thing, okay, that here's a situation in which a person is being totally unselfish and yet he's getting agitated, right? So talk of that situation. Don't say that I was so unselfish but I am agitated. No, here's the situation. In this situation, how will I be, not how will I, how will the individual deal with it, or what is the right way of dealing with it? Nothing to do with me. So take yourself out of that equation. Like suppose Aditi had asked you that, in this situation, this is how I felt. How will you answer that question? You will say, okay, so the right thing to do is X, Y, and Z. This is how one needs to think about it, involving yourself, right? So even if it's our own problem, we don't involve ourselves in it. But usually in reflection, just understand a concept per se. Of course, you can get in some examples from real life, but understanding the concept per se is your first obligation.
So thanks for it.
Yeah, Sejal. Yeah, go ahead, Sejal.
Sorry, yeah. So this is an extension of Aditi's question again. In respect to the elders at home, sometimes are not understanding the gravity of the corona situation and going out. So how do you deal with that?
How do you deal with anything, Sejal? Okay, so elders don't understand the gravity of the corona situation, so how do you deal with it? Firstly, Sejal, how you deal with the situation always depends on all the factors in the situation. So you can't answer a generally like that. But there is a great belief among grown-up children, those are in their 40s and 50s, that their parents and the elder generation know very little in life, and we are taking responsibility for them. So this is just this attachment and ego playing. I have seen many children treat their parents like like half crazy children, but you don't realize that from their perspective it's not how it is from your perspective. You as a 40-year-old person have a certain lifestyle, have a certain whatever, everything. You have children, you have responsibilities, you have to look after your health, you have to look after your wealth, you have a particular situation in life. Now somebody in their 70s is not in that situation. So their way of dealing with that situation is very different. They are like more chilled about it. They say, abhi to zindagi ho gayi, hona hai to hone do. They have a completely different perspective on this. And that perspective is coming from where they are placed in their life. Like a 25-year-old will have a different perspective, a 50-year-old will have a different perspective, an 80-year-old will have a different perspective. The 80-year-old is just not wanting to put in too much work in anything. Agar you are troubling me by saying कि हाथ धो लो 10 बार तो मैं तो नहीं करूँगा. अब मरना है तो मर जाऊँगा. This is his perspective on the situation. So first we have to understand where is that person coming from, and then deal with it. in accordance to his perspective, not in accordance to my perspective. I can't tell him you have to take care of his health. He's saying, I don't care about it. I can't tell him that, oh, you have to be responsible, He says, I don't care. I just don't want to put in effort. So you must talk to him with his perspective, like you don't want to put in effort. So what kind of things do I need to tell you so that you realize that if you do these things, you won't have to put in effort or something like that.
Okay.
So it's difficult to actually answer particular questions. Here we should just keep it to general philosophical questions, because particular questions in the sense of what shall I do in this particular situation, you have to collect firstly all the data and then deal with it.
Thank you.
Now anything else? Anybody else? Anybody on YouTube has a question? So, coming back, verse 20 started with the subtopic that says that deluded people who are not thinking clearly, they work for a finite fruit, they get that fruit. So, what we don't understand when we do that is, since we worked for a finite fruit, we worked for something that was going to end anyway. We're working so hard, putting all our life and soul into something to get something which is going to go. And when it goes, we behave like we have been let down by life in some way. We haven't been let down. It was our business to know that this is a finite fruit. Anything that we are working for in this world, if you choose something which is impermanent, then that impermanent thing is going to go away. So any sensible person would first find out, what is this permanent thing that I should seek, rather than go around chasing all sorts of impermanent things, which even if you get, they're going to go. So we have to think carefully. It's our life, right? And we want our life to go well. So we have to think carefully, what is it that is worth us, what is worth working for, what is worth doing, what is that thing which, having got, I can be guaranteed some happiness and some fulfillment. What is that thing? I need to know it before I go rushing in all directions trying to collect all sorts of things around me. So in verse 20 he is starting this idea. This is the idea in the whole subtopic. Okay, this is a summary of the subtopic. So now we'll do it verse by verse. So verse 20 said, those deprived of wisdom approach other gods. Approach other gods means, which is the one God? The one God is the self, Atman, Brahman, the all-pervading reality or the all-pervading truth, whatever you would like to call it. Now if you pursue anything other than that, then that comes under other gods. Okay, so other gods, why other gods? Because in the Indian tradition, everything in the world is divine. So if you're pursuing Lakshmi, if you're pursuing wealth, then they call it Lakshmi, and if you're pursuing success, and then they call it Ganesha, and if you're whatever it is you can think of, there is a god for that. So why do they do that? Because they want to quote everything in divinity. So other gods means all the phenomenal powers, everything other than the self, right? So please don't misunderstanding in it as those who seek Krishna are doing good, and if they are seeking any other god from any other religion, then they are doing bad. Not at all. What it's referring to is the self. It is called as Brahman or Atman in Vedanta. It is called God in English. The Christians refer to it as the Father in heaven. The Mohammedans refer to it as Allah. The Buddhists refer to it as Shunyata. The Parsis, the Zoroastrians, refer to it as Ahura Mazda. Whatever name you call it, it is that one transcendental truth that human beings, the purpose of human existence is to seek, because that's the only permanent thing. So if you choose not to pursue that higher truth, that higher reality of life, the transcendental truth of life, then you approach other gods. Other gods means anything other than the self, anything other than Allah or Brahman or Father in Heaven or Ahura Mazda or Shunyata. If you choose to pursue whatever, these are all synonymous terms. This is exactly the same thing, all these things. So if you choose to pursue anything other than that, then what happens? You resort to corresponding rites. So if you're seeking a promotion in your company, then you will do the corresponding rites. You will do whatever is required to get that promotion. Or if you're seeking to get married, then you will take corresponding rites. That means you'll do whatever is required to get married. And if you want to have a child, then you'll do what's required for a child. And if you want all the various things in the world that we may want. If you want health, then you'll do whatever is required for health, whatever. So everything that we're doing for achieving that goal that we have set for ourselves, he refers it to resorting to corresponding rites. Now, why do we choose these other gods? Because of our own desires. So he says, those deprived of wisdom, those who are ignorant in life, approach other gods. Other gods means something other than the self, through various desires. Why those particular things? Because those are our desires. And then what do? We'll take the corresponding actions to reach those particular desires. And what type of actions will they be? They will be led by their own nature. So suppose your desire is for success. So what kind of actions will you take? If you're a tamasic person, then you may, take actions like smuggling or something like that. I don't know. If you're a rajasic person, then you may take a job, a business, whatever. And a sattvic person, you're looking for some kind of success in the world, then you probably take some higher ideals or some goals in life, some unselfish goals in life. So propelled by your own nature, then you take to certain types of activities. So, but when does all this happen? When we are deprived of wisdom. What is wisdom? Understanding that the only thing worth pursuing is the self. That is wisdom. If you don't know this, then please understand that all he's stating is a matter of fact. Either you've understood that the only permanent and useful thing worth chasing is the self, in which case you pursue that, or you've not understood this and therefore you pursue something else. He's just making a statement of fact. Okay, he's not telling you what to do, he's just making a statement of fact. That if you're deprived of wisdom, if you're ignorant, if you don't understand the use of reaching the self, you will try to reach something else. Okay, that's what verse 20 said. All clear about verse 20? Anybody has any question with reference to verse 20? Okay, so we go to verse 21. Yo yo yam yam tanum bhaktaha shraddhayarchitumicchati tasya chalam shraddham tameva vidhadhamyaham. Yo yo yam yam tanum bhaktaha shraddhayarchitumicchati tasya chalam shraddham tameva vidhadhamyaham. Yo yo yam yam tanum bhaktaha. Yo yo yam yam means yaha, whichever form bhaktaha shraddhayarchitum ichchati. Whichever form that with shraddha, architum means to worship. Tasya, whichever form you choose, whatever you choose. So you may choose the self or you may choose anything other than the self. But if you pursue whatever you are pursuing with shraddha, you all remember what is shraddha? Shraddha is that intellectual capacity in us by which we can posit a goal and stay with it until you reach it. So shraddha includes faith, as many people take it as, but it does not restrict itself to faith, but includes consistency And consistency, not just consistency, but keeping on at it until the goal is reached. Now, what is the difference in consistency and consistency until the goal is reached? You could be consistent about your Vedanta studies for 10 years. That doesn't make you have Shraddha. Are you going to stay with it until the goal is reached? So people can be consistent. Sometimes women are very consistent with their diet and exercise and all that. They can go on for 6 months, 1 year, whatever, they're consistent with it. But then after 1 year, they give up. So then that won't be Shraddha. Shraddha means you're going to take it up and stay with it until the goal is reached, until you and the goal are one. So with knowledge, with reference to knowledge, Shraddha is that capacity in us to take a knowledge, to reflect upon it, to digest it until the knowledge and I are one. There's no difference. And I have knowledge. Knowledge and I are one. So Shraddha is the capacity to stay with something until you reach it. So what is he saying? Yo yo yam yam tanum bhaktaha. The bhaktaha, the worshipper, whichever form he chooses, and stays with that form with Shraddha. He has Shraddha towards the form. Remember, Shraddha is not faith. Shraddha is that capacity in us to keep with it till you get it. So he says, if you pursue any form with Shraddha, tasya achalam. Achalam means unswerving. जो चलता नहीं है, no, that doesn't sound right. जिसका चलन नहीं है, that doesn't move. Okay, Shraddham tam eva vidadhami aham. I will make your Shraddha achalam. I will make that Shraddha of yours unswerving, unmoving. So if you choose anything to pursue in this world with Shraddha, then the Lord promises you that I will make that Shraddha of yours unswerving. Now, all the bhaktas will be happy to hear this. They'll say, God is going to help us. But all the jnanis are going to say, all this time they said that God is not going to help you. God is the inactive and living principle. Now suddenly Krishna himself is saying, I will help you. So what do you mean, I will help you? How can Brahman, who's inactive, help us? Bharat, did you have a question? Bharat?
No, I'm good, ma'am.
Okay. So, whatever form a devotee seeks to worship with Shraddha, I make that Shraddha of his unswerving. So, he has already told us that we have two choices in life. We can either pursue the self or we can pursue something other than the self. Anything other than the self. It could be physical, it could be emotional, it could be intellectual. You may want to have tripods from Cambridge, you may want PhDs, you want a D-Lit, you may want emotional relationships, you may want everybody to love you, or you may want physical things, you want to look very pretty, very beautiful, you want power, I don't know what else. You want enjoyments, you want wealth, whatever. You could want one of two things, either the self or something else. Something else could be physical, emotional, or intellectual, right? Now, if you follow whatever you choose to follow, which Shraddha, Krishna says, I will make that Shraddha of yours unfailing. Shraddha should be towards the goal or towards the goal as well as the means. Omkar, Shraddha is always towards the goal, not towards the means, because means will change, right? Means, when the circumstances change, you may have different means. So, Shraddha is always towards the goal.
How do you maintain consistency? Like in one of the examples you mentioned that you can't be playing cricket one day and football the other day, your goal could be to be a top-notch sports person, but your team is cricket or football or something else. So shouldn't be the Shraddha towards the means as well.
No, you can't have a goal like I want to be a top-notch sports person. You have to say I want to be a top-notch cricketer or footballer or something. You can't have a goal so vague. A top-notch footballer is like saying my goal is to make lots of money. No. What is your goal? My goal is that I will have a turnover of 1000 crores in the next 5 years. That's it. Then I know that this is in business, right? Because I'm not having a turnover in that kind of turnover in a job. So it has to be clear, right? It can't be this vague.
Okay. In one of the previous classes, you had mentioned that suppose you have options in terms of a spiritual pursuit, you may experiment with them, but at some point in time, you need to decide what is it that you wish to pursue, and then stick to it. So, so doesn't it mean that we are talking again of the means? As in, let's say you were trying bhakti yoga, jnana yoga, and various other things, and you realize that no, you want to go for the jnana yoga. So that is the means, right?
Yes, but you may change that. Just as you change from bhakti to jnana, you may one day decide to change from jnana to bhakti.
So
but
consistency is where?
In the goal.
In a goal.
Always goal. But means can change. Circumstances change, means will change.
Okay, thank you.
Purvi says faith and Shraddha are different. Yes, faith and Shraddha are different, Purvi, or more correctly, faith is part of Shraddha. It is not all of Shraddha. Shraddha contains three elements. One is faith, second is consistency, and thirdly is consistency until the goal is reached. You won't leave. You won't be consistent for some time and then leave. You will stay with it till you reach the end. All three put together means Shraddha.
Thank you, Janki.
Hari Om Shamji.
The verse 21, the question arises if the God, pure consciousness, or whatever you call it, doesn't work, is not active, then how the God will help us?
Yes, I'm about to answer that. That's the point at which we.
What I attempt to answer, I want to know whether it is right or not.
I will do it, Shamji. In a second, I'm doing it.
Okay.
Otherwise, everybody comes up with interpretations. We never finish the Gita. So, I'm about to do that portion. So, Bhaktas will be very happy that God is going to help us, and Jnanis will be like, what? How can you take this new stance now that God is going to help us? God is not going to help you. You have to do whatever you want. God is a enlivening principle in our life. God enables us. God doesn't do anything for us. God is like electricity in the bulb. Electricity doesn't give light. If the bulb is fused, electricity cannot give light. So only when the bulb is proper will there be light. And yet even a proper bulb will not give light unless there is electricity. So electricity is only the enlivener. The same electricity through an air conditioner will give cool air, and the same electricity through a washing machine will wash your clothes. So electricity enables, the equipments do. So how is God saying over here that I will make your faith unswerving? So listen carefully, because all these three verses which are about to do are in the same basic flow of thoughts. You must get the concept clear. Okay, so where did we begin with? We began by you can pursue the self or you can pursue something in the world, right? Now, he says if you choose either of these, whatever you choose, I will make that faith unswerving. You do it with Shraddha and I will keep the Shraddha going. Now, please understand that he is tricking us over here. If you have Shraddha, what is he supposed to do? Shraddha, remember, the word Shraddha itself means that you're going to stay with something till you reach it. So if you have Shraddha, what is he going to do? So please understand carefully what he's saying, because Krishna, he's not a simple guy, right? He is nutcut. He will tell you in such a way that you have to think, what is he saying? These are the words of wisdom. And it's like you have to unravel that meaning. So if I'm going to have all this Shraddha, what is Krishna promising me that he's going to do? Because Shraddha itself means that I will stay with something till I reach it. So what is Krishna going to do? Think carefully. What is it? What is the role of the self in this? Now, as you know, whatever thing we choose to do in life or choose not to do in life, it is only for the purpose of gaining infinite happiness. It's every single act that you or I or anybody from the beginning of time has ever done or even chosen not to do is only for the purpose of happiness. And it's not just happiness that we are looking for. What are we looking for? We're looking for a happiness that is permanent. We're looking for a happiness that's not only permanent, but is complete. So complete and permanent happiness means infinite happiness. A happiness that is full in terms of quality and full in terms of quantity. So that's infinite happiness. So everything we do is for the purpose of gaining infinite happiness. Now, what is the state of infinite happiness? The state of infinite happiness is the self. The only place where infinite happiness is available is in the self, is in self-realization, is in enlightenment. So, carefully follow. Everything that we do is for the sake of infinite happiness. So that everything that we choose to do, we are looking for happiness in it. Then we will continue to do that thing. We will go on doing that thing. So a person looking for wealth will keep looking for more wealth, and a person looking for beauty will keep looking for more beauty, and the person looking for power will keep looking for more power, and a person looking for knowledge will look for more knowledge. So everything that we start doing with Shraddha, it will just go on and on and on. But why is it going on? Because what we are choosing to get out of it, what we are looking to get out of it, is infinite happiness. So we keep taking one step further, one step further, one step further all the time. Even if I'm doing something negative, if I'm doing robbery or smuggling or cheating or whatever negative thing I'm doing, I go take one step further constantly in the hope of getting infinite happiness. So, when I am maintaining my Shraddha, why is my Shraddha being maintained? How is my Shraddha being maintained? It is the push for infinite happiness that is maintaining that Shraddha. So he says, I will keep the Shraddha going. That means this infinite happiness, the self, the pursuit of that is what is keeping this thing going. So, whatever form a devotee seeks to worship with Shraddha, I make that Shraddha of his unswerving. So, whenever we choose to follow anything with Shraddha, we are following it with Shraddha in the hope of attaining that infinite happiness. So, the push for infinite happiness is what is keeping the Shraddha going. That's what he means by I, because I, whenever a prophet uses the first person singular, he is referring to the self. So the self keeps that Shraddha going because the self is the state of infinite happiness.
Janki-ji?
Yeah, Bharat.
Hari Om. So the efforts towards completion continue until the person reaches perfection. So no matter what, if the person is aware or not of the self that he's seeking.
Yes, but except that when he does it for finite things, he will keep on getting more of those finite things because he doesn't understand that the pursuit is for infinite happiness. So no matter how much money he gets, he'll want more. And then if he gets power, he'll want more. So why does he want all that? Because what he's actually hunting is the infinite. So by adding 1 to 1, nobody reaches infinite. But when you're doing a finite pursuit, you don't realize that. You just want more, you just want more, you just want more.
Ji, thank you.
Anyone else has anything on verse 21?
Yes, ma'am.
Hanji.
What I was thinking, I may be wrong, the pure consciousness and the eternal laws, are those one are the same or there is difference?
There's a difference. Eternal laws are part of Prakriti, are part of matter. And self is beyond matter.
Yes, I got now. Thank you.
Okay, verse 22. Sataya Shraddhaya Yuktaha Tasyaradhanamihate Labhate Chatata Kaman Mayaiva Vihitan Hitan Sataya Shraddhaya Yuktaha Tasyaradhanamihate Labhate Chatata Kaman Mayaiva Vihitan Hitan Sataya Shraddhaya, with that Shraddha which you have pursued, Sataya Shraddhaya Yuktaha, joined with that Shraddha means having that Shraddha with which you have pursued things, Tasya Aradhana Ihati. So he works, does Aradhana, he worships. Now you had that verse in the word in the previous verse, Architum, to worship. This is a Tumanta form, Archana, Aradhana, these are all worship words. Now, what does worship mean? Worship means whatever work you do for achieving whatever it is you wish to achieve. Worship means pursuit of something. When you say I worship money, what does it mean? I'm pursuing money. I worship knowledge means what does it mean? I'm pursuing knowledge. I worship not anything else. Success means I'm pursuing success. So worship of something means pursuit of something. So endowed with that Shraddha, he seeks worship of that form. So that this individual does his Shraddha towards whatever form that he has fixed for himself, and from it he fulfills his desires. Remember, he started worshiping because he had that desire. He started pursuing that thing because he had that particular desire. So from obtaining that thing, he fulfills his desires. So important thing for us to understand over here is when we do not understand the importance of the self, we pursue other things. So the beginning of the problem lies in the self. We've not understood it. Then we pursue other things, and that pursuit for eternal happiness maintains our Shraddha. So the continuance of that is also because of the self. And then when you maintain the Shraddha, what you do achieve is that object, whatever it is that you have. Labate, you obtain that thing. So the beginning of the pursuit, the continuance of the pursuit, and the end of the pursuit, all are sustained by the self, by this desire for infinite happiness. And so what can he rightly say? All these are ordained by me alone. In me alone begins that pursuit, in me alone continues that pursuit, and in me alone is that object obtained. Means the pursuit reaches its fructification. So the beginning, middle and end is all Brahman. It's just that we can't see it there. Otherwise the whole practice is only the self, self, self. But we are looking for it in the wrong direction. So you're hunting the self in everything you do, but looking for it in the wrong place. It is like that old lady. There was an old lady who was hunting for something under the street light. So the bypassers also started helping her hunt for that thing. And somebody's asked her, what are you looking for? She's saying, well, I lost my bag. It's somewhere. I can't find it. So they're all looking everywhere. And then some intelligent fellow asked her, but where did you lose it? She said, I lost it at home. Then why looking for it on the street? And she said, but the light is here. The light is here. There's no light in my home. So that's how we live our life. We are going around looking for something in the street which we've lost at home. How are you ever going to find it? So what if the light is here? So what, you can see this? So they say, we don't like all these abstract things, we like concrete things, because I can see concrete things. Okay, but what you're looking for is not there. So what's the point of looking over there? It's not there. So we are doing whatever we are doing for the sake of the self, but since we are looking for it in the wrong place, what we get is only a finite fruit. These are all blind alleys. You can go in them, you can pursue them, you can get them, but you've not found what you really wanted to find because it wasn't there. So verses 20, 21, 22 tell you how we get the desire, how we sustain that effort towards fulfilling it, and how we fulfill it. So these things that we try to obtain in this world become only blind alleys for us. Means he has not said that so far. What he has said so far is the self makes you start that pursuit, the self sustains the pursuit, and the self will help conclude the pursuit. Means you will obtain it. In other words, if you want something with Shraddha, you will keep working at it, and if you keep working at it like that, you are no doubt bound to get it. So it all sounds pretty good up to this point. So let's see what verse 23 has to say to us. Antavattu phalam tesham tadbhavatyalpamedhasam devan devayajo yanti madbhakta yanti mamapi antavattu phalam tesham tadbhavatyalpamedhasam devan devayajo yanti madbhakta yanti mamapi antavattu phalam tesham. Antavattu means antavat, it's going to end. Finite indeed is their fruit. Yes, Aditi?
Janki-ji, so in pursuit of doing your Shraddha, there will be a lot of times that you will be making a lot of mistakes. So you have to keep on and on pursuing it. But does that also mean that in this journey, when you're making a lot of error of judgment, your intellectual also grows purely because you're making these errors and it makes you think differently? Because you say no matter what, you're going to reach, if you have Shraddha, you're going to reach that goal. So somebody who doesn't have a great intellect, will their intellect grow in order for him to reach that?
Yes, because he will, because the nature of Shraddha is he's not going to leave it till he gets it. So whatever is required for him to get it, he's going to do.
So even with a low intellect, you can still reach your goal.
Well, you must appreciate.
Like low intellect can get into higher forms of understanding or intellect to reach the goal. Is that true?
Yes, it is true that he can get into higher forms of understanding, but please understand that when the intellect is low, the goal is also low. Intellect is only so poor, what high goal is he going to have? He's going to have some relatively simple goal. So nobody has a goal which is way beyond their capacity. intellect, the nature of the intellect will also help pitch the goal, right? So most of us are going to pitch a goal that we can obtain. No, I mean, why would he pitch a goal that is beyond his means? But your question to be answered directly, that can your intellect grow? Of course your intellect can grow, but don't assume that a person with a low intellect is going to fix a very high goal. It doesn't usually happen like that. Your goal, the quality of the goal is dependent on the quality of the intellect. So that intellect is capable of achieving that goal. It doesn't have to be something fantastic, right? Some people just have a goal that I want to buy a house. So it's not something fantastic, especially in Mumbai, where the real estate prices, I don't know what the current condition is, but these were unaffordable prices and for most people. So that big thing in life is I must buy a house. So it's not something fantastic and fabulous, but so it's the intellect's capacity will determine the type of goal also.
So which means you should not have unrealistic goals as per your intellect, right?
Yes, of course. Why would you have an unrealistic goal? Means something that is beyond your capacity.
Because sometimes some people think that they are in a particular way, but they probably may not be in that stage at that point. There could be a lot of bhram also, relating to this.
Yeah, there could be, but you have to go with what you know. You don't have to worry about is it right or is it wrong. You don't have to second guess. This is what I want. I'm working at it. If as I work on it, I will find out whether I've got capacity or I don't have capacity.
But okay, thank you.
Yes, Sangeeta. Sangeeta?